Is your team ready to soar to new heights? At CTL Africa Leadership, we specialize in transforming potential into performance. Whether it's mastering winning with people, enhancing emotional intelligence, decoding human behavior, or strengthening team leadership, we've got you covered. Dive into personal leadership and elevate your corporate governance standards. Our tailor-made programs are designed to unlock your team's full potential. Don't settle for ordinary. Be extraordinary. Book a discovery call with CTL Africa today, and let's design a development program that transforms your team. Visit our website www.ctlafricaleadership.com. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are joining us from. Welcome to the Leadership Platform, episode 186. Can you believe that for over 4 years, we've been coming your way every Saturday, 7 p.m. to share, to learn from each other. And I believe that this platform has been a blessing to you. And I want to welcome everybody joining us from across the world. It's always a privilege to be here. This is a show powered by CTL Africa Leadership, and our goal and our mission every single day we wake up, we want to add value to you. We want to increase the level and the quality of leadership in this country and on the continent. So it's a pleasure to have you. My name is Joy Bunsushmut, and I'm always excited to join you. You could have been doing anything else this evening, but you decided to spend the time to learn, to share, and we're happy to have you. So I'm joining from Accra, Ghana, and I want to know where you are connecting from. So use the comment section. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. So use the comment section to introduce yourself and where you are joining us from. And we'll be glad to announce you to the world. Yes, so we've actually been on a journey. It's been live to lead since October, and leading for transformation. It's been an amazing experience, and we're still living for transformation. So we've been on a series where we've invited some of our panelists, our participants who joined us on the 4th of October at the UPSA, who were in the room to experience the action live and colored. And we've been having them on a series. And today we have our very final series, which is featuring a transformational leadership coach and an executive corporate trainer. And I'll be introducing them very, very, very soon. So stay tuned. Keep the comments coming in, keep the introductions coming in. And we always encourage you that when you join the broadcast, share the link with your friends and family. Put it on WhatsApp groups, share it on your broadcast, and encourage your friends, your colleagues, your family members to be a part of this amazing learning experience. Hola, Amelia, greetings from Ouagadougou. Bonsoir, bonsoir. Bienvenue à the leadership platform. Okay. All right. So we're going to dive right into it. Let me know what your expectations are for this evening, and we'll be happy to join you. I'm having Uncle Sam here with me and the entire CTL crew. We want to say good evening. All right, so I'm going to dive right into it. I'm going to bring one of our panelists to start with. We'll just have a short conversation so that you guys get to know him very well before we get into the conversation. The first time I saw his name in an email signed Mr. Scofray Yeboah, I said, is he a Ghanaian? I was wondering where the name was coming from, but immediately I actually thought it was a white man. I mean, Scofray, just so you know. Until I met him in person. He's the chapter president of ICF Ghana, and that's how we connected. And today I'm very happy that we get to share the stage with him and for him to share his learnings from the last Live to Lead. Okay, so I'm going to bring Mr. Scofray on. Good evening, Scofray.
Good evening, Joy.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. If you can also hear
Awesome.
me.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So, as we want to get into the conversation, Live to Lead, the perspective of the corporate trainer, the perspective of the coach. Everybody that was in the room, about 200 people, were listening to the different sessions from with different lenses, with different perspectives. And I believe that as somebody who trains leaders, as somebody who develops leaders, the lens with which you were listening to those conversations was very different. And so that's why we invited you to share that perspective, because we all know that on this platform we also have leadership coaches and trainers who tune in every Saturday. Yes. So before we dive into it, just tell us a little bit about what you do as a leadership coach, as a corporate trainer, and why are you doing that work in the first place? Just a little bit about you.
Thank you very much, Joy, and kudos to the LIVE2LEAD team, CTL Africa leadership, for continuously giving yourselves away, especially your lead, Mr. Samuel Yim, for spearheading another way that we can contribute to the shaping and the forming of minds and attitude and individuals, so that we get the best out of whoever we cross paths with. So I am excited I could have been there to support,
Yeah.
participate, and take some nuggets away. So when I'm asked what I do, basically, like you mentioned, I'm into leadership and executive coaching. I do corporate training and consulting services. What drives me is it's a song that is encapsulated in the music called "The Impossible Dream," and there's a part that says that
Mm,
this is my quest to follow
mm,
that, no matter how hopeless and no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause, and that I know if I only be true to this glorious quest, when my heart
mm,
is peaceful and calm. So it's basically to say that I'm committed to work a purpose where the more I reinvent, rediscover, I invest in that which I am, the more I
mhm,
use that also to support leaders, executives, supervisors, heads of department, or anyone who wants a life bigger, wider, explorative than they met me. So it is that which
mm,
gives me the purpose, or living the purpose of saying a life at a time. So that is how come I use also the designation as transformation executive coach, because I believe in the butterfly philosophy, that you start
yeah.
just as a cocoon, like a pupa, just something like that, till you go through
Yeah.
phases and shapes to become a blossom, amazing, multicolored butterfly. So that
Yeah.
is what I do, to hold clients' feet to the fire to become the best version of them. Like
Mm,
you mentioned, when I look at the theme of that which that was for Live to Lead 2024, there's a bit that
mhm,
you also know that I love anything mind.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
say I love
Yeah.
anything mind because of the background of multiple brain integration techniques as an mBIT master
Yeah.
coach and mBIT trainer. So that was one
Yeah.
of the things that endeared me to Live to Lead 2024, and I'm saying it
Yeah.
was worth the time I got to
Yeah.
spend.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that background. So would have Coach Scofray go and then share his nuggets from the conference, and then we'll come back and then have Dr. Thelma and Frimpong Mensah also join the conversation. Then afterwards, please prepare your questions, thought-provoking comments, put them in the chat as he goes ahead to share his presentation with us. So Coach Scofray, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. My nuggets or my insights that I got out of Live to Lead 2024, which is the brainchild of CTL Africa and pioneering by Mr. Samuel Yim, a legal brain executive coach and a corporate trainer. One of the things in life that sort of endear me to events or programs or trainings as peculiar words, theme, phrases, all that. Because I know the power of wording, I know the power of themes, the parade of who is behind it, which support the reticular activating system. So when I looked at leading for transformation, as a leadership coach, as an executive coach, as a corporate trainer, just the fact of leading for transformation was one cliche that got my attention. And from all the speakers that I was there to listen to, I got the insight and the inputs that transformation, or let's say transform, is a phase or in phases of every human endeavor. And the world has come to a point where we only don't need leaders. We need transformational leaders, people who can lead in their quest of transformation. And that was one of the things that endeared me to Live to Lead 2024. The subtitle or the conjoining to that of the Leading for Transformation was Renew Minds, Change Lives. And like I said in the earlier introduction, because of my background in coaching, as well as my background in multiple brain integration techniques as a master coach, the word mind itself thrills me. The word mind, it thrills me. And when we use the words renew minds in itself is very invitational to me, because as a coach or as a trainer, the focus of that which I do is to encounter minds, either get them renewed or deprogrammed, reprogrammed, or depattern, repattern, or disintegrate and re-engineer, all in the quest for a client or a participant in any training to encounter themselves or that which they do a bit differently. And it is the work or the chemistry of the mind. If you come to what I do, I say the mind is mastery in neuro display. And with that, if you want to renew that, the speakers that were paneled, each of them came from a portfolio of practice and expertise with long years of service. So they were able to tackle their subject theme such a way that it geared towards renewing of minds. And when a mind is renewed, something else occurs, which I agree with Napoleon Hill, that says that where one or two people meet, there is a third mind. And because of what I do, like I had earlier alluded to, mind is not just your cephalic brain. It's not just a head brain that you have. Sometimes people synonymous the head brain with the mind, but because you are more than just a thinking thing, and you have more than three even intelligences: your head, your heart, your gut, which are all brains in their sphere, versus the environment you come from. So it is basically mastery in neuro display, because wherever you are, you're still in contact with your environment. So that renew mind itself and change life was something that I felt or realized that it was timely. If you just observe the globe and you bring it center to my continent, Africa, you realize that what is required, what is needed to create the shift that we expect emanates from people or the citizenry of this continent choosing to want to lead for transformation. That if that becomes a fundamental cornerstone and purpose to why people assume leadership roles, even if you have nothing to, if you have no one to lead, there is even self-leadership. Because if you have self-led in excellence, effectiveness, and efficiency, that is where you, when you are giving other people, you are giving the opportunity to have people follow you, to have people believe in that which you are taking a stand for. Then you get something out of that. Then we looked at the change in lives. See, because change in lives in itself is not like an event. No, human beings are not events. We are faces. Even neurologically, neurosynapses, neurogenesis, it means always our brains are firing. So you can't say it's either you are changing to make impact, but because the theme was leading for transformation, because that means that the lives we want to see change comes from a renewed point of mind and perspective. So I was excited and says a renewed minds. The presentation that I loved were three, and I'll pick a bit from all the three. John C. Maxwell's message basically centered on a certain kind of mindset, and I love it. I love mindset subject matter because whether we know it or not, your mind is not your head brain. No, your head brain is a subset of your mind. Your mind is never the totality. Your head brain is not the totality of your mind. Your mind is actually your head brain, your heart brain, your gastroenteric, which is your gut brain, your autonomic nervous system, the environment you come into or the environment you live in. All this forms what we call the mind. That is how come I christen the mind as mastery in neural display. So to have a mindset, it means you come from subsets, or you come from sets or subset of a way you do, you carry, you behave. So mostly I do with the MBA, your mindset, your behavior, and your attitude. You come from that fold. And one of the amazing space you can come from as a mindset is the abundance, which is basically like the growth mindset. But because we have belabored the term growth mindset and seated it just on the level of your thinking brain, I'm careful to not to limit it that, but I want to expand it that when he used the abundance mindset with the what we here will call pie, or if you know you have an oven, you also know you can always have a pie. So you don't go into the world grumbling and want to hoard pies to yourself alone. And how much can you even grumble and hoard to yourself? Maximum one or two. Interestingly, when he was speaking, I just opposed it to my continent. You notice that, especially in political leadership, entertainment faculty, suppose celebrity enclaves, what most of our perceived forefronters of such areas flaunt is their cars, their homes, their wives, the schools their kids attend. That is one of the things that when he was speaking, I was just quickly juxtaposing that a people who come from mindset that measures life as how much you can accumulate, that means quantitative, then there is no accidents to why our development is staggered or lagging if you compare to our peers. I mean, if you pick Ghana, Indonesia, Singapore, Korea, if you look at where we all came from at the period of attaining independence, look at what they've done compared to where we are now. It should tell you that mindset or leadership mindset that is centered around how much you have in your account. That is how come African leaders of old and even this particular era, everything that they're looking for is hoarding that which the state have. So they use their positional power to embezzle, pilfer, and steal state funds And what do they use it for? To drive in V8 and big cars and all that. That is the kind of mindset. So when he spoke about the fact that if you know you have an oven, and in this sense, I liken the oven to, if you have a head brain, you have a heart brain, you have a gut brain, you have an autonomic nervous system, you even have pelvic intelligence, which forms your mind. With the right structured environment, that mind, that sets, that forms your mastery in neural display. It means you don't go out there in search of 1 pi or 2 pi to hold to yourself. But because you are the oven which bake every faculty of yours to give unto the world, such that you look at whom you are and what you can give off, or whom you have developed and you can give off. That abundance mindset that John C. Maxwell spoke about was incredible. Because even in coaching, until an executive or a leader of an entity or a company or a portfolio get to assess and have access to who or she is intrinsically, and understand the environment's role, your nature and your nurture, and being able to situate it well, you realize that that is where a client emerges, where in mBIT we say adaptive intelligence, where all these 3 brains come together to give you a core centralized emergent brain called what we call adaptive intelligence. So when he spoke about abundance mindset, that was the perspective I was picking it up from. And if clients who go through coaching can bring all this that they are to the center in wisdom, they don't go out there looking for that which they can amass for themselves. They go out there being agents or changing lives, because that is how they are leading for transformation. Then if you listen to Kwame Piani also as a follow-up to John C. Maxwell, as if they had planned to what they want to share. Because when I listened to his life was the practical play of the presentation John C. Maxwell made. Because look at a young economist having gone through prison or a political prisoner for a period of 10 years, and he says it is in the same time that wilderness was the same time he learned to become a better leader. And it quickly took my mind to the story of Joseph in the Bible, that it was in prison that he rose to become the prefect of prisoners. And if he was able to lead prisoners, the most difficult group of people, as we would term it, the good, the bad, the ugly, then it was no miracle that he could rise to become the prime minister of Egypt, all because of the kind of leader he had nurtured himself during his wilderness. The same way I liken Kwame Piani's input and submission to David, that when everybody else, his brothers were there, maybe have gone to military training, and he was on the field taking care of the father's sheep, the flock, that even when the prophet had gone looking for the king in his family, he had actually been forgotten. So I pick up from Mr. Kwame Piani's presentation that leadership will have its wilderness. And what you do in your wilderness could either turn the wilderness into a desert or cause it to become a forest. And for me, after he cataloged his life, that when he entered his wilderness, he turned his into a forest. And one thing that stood with me with his presentation was the fact that when he was asked what was his legacy, because this is a man who established nets, established the Spinters, which is a cloth making factory, established so many government institutions. But interestingly, this man's name is not bundled around all that he had achieved. And he said, in the midst of all this, his greatest legacy were the people he poured himself into. That was his greatest legacy. And it is basically what John C. Maxwell had positions at abundance mindset or growth mindset. Because when you have that, you don't live for you alone. Because when you're able to encounter yourself, your possibilities, your potentials, and put all that to the service of people, they become your legacy. You are not your houses, your cars, your travels, whatever. It's not what is counted as your achievement, but the people you poured yourself into so that they could identify their potentials, their abilities, and give them the free hand. I think there was something he said I was provided. The moment you bring somebody to the table, no matter how young, and that was very profound submission he made. That there was a time where he had something to say, and because he said no, then the leader said no, I would change my mind and think. Don't bring somebody to the table, look at a person's age, and just shush them. A great leader, a transformational leader, can see the diamond in the rough of people around them, because they bring them around so that iron sharpens iron. That was also one profound takeaway I took from Mr. Kwame Piani's presentation, because it is the same thing we also do in coaching. That when the client come before you, it is not the client's designation, chief executive, marketing head, L&D, HR, ICT manager. It is not the portfolio they come to you that you see, because those are all labels. Those are all labels. But the individual and the makeup they are, so they either rediscover themselves or go on a journey of polishing the diamond they have discovered. So it was a very, very profound submission that Mr. Kwame Piani made. And when I bring it to either leadership or coaching, I bring it to corporate trainings that I do, it is important to know that when you encounter people, you are encountering destinies. When you encounter people, you are encountering generations. I think this morning in the washroom, something dropped in my heart. And I said, when you meet somebody, the individual is a generation from the father side, multi-generation from the father side, and a multi-generation from the mother side. And out of you also, multiple generations will come out of you, because we carry DNAs of even the forefathers we never met, 300, 500, no matter. That is, we carry all those DNAs. So it suggests that when you encounter people and you are willing to lead from a space of transformation, such that the minds you met them with can either be renewed, expanded, explored, so they can also walk and run their own race, then amazing things happen. Then Shantae, her presentation, that which stood out for me was when the grandmother took her to a sporting event. There is something we say about when I said the mind is not only your head brain, but it is your head brain, your heart brain, your gut brain, and the environment. There is a term we call epigenetics. Epigenetics says that your environment can even alter your DNA, especially the phenotype. So it is important the kind of environment you go into and what you permit it to do with you. And in her case, she had dreamt to become an Olympian. So the grandmother introducing her to the environment was profound. Very, very profound. Because our environment is part of our mind. Our environment is part of the senses that this universe gives to us. So because she was introduced to such an environment, it is no wonder and any more surprise that she became an Olympian. Having her own experience of the sporting personalities who were at that moment participating in what they knew how to do best, sort of influence. Because when your phenotype, your trait, your personality, and everything are influenced, your subconscious buys into that and run automatically beneath the conscious mind. And interestingly, your subconscious makes almost 95% of who you are. And she also said there was a good feeling, there was something going on. And one of the works that I'm working on is understanding that apparently the subconscious actually stems from our emotions. So when your emotions are stirred right, look at what you can do and achieve. And the more it keeps stirred, it goes to that right stirring. It means that you keep on expanding and growing it. So it is mission critical in pursuit of transformation and in the essence of renewing one's mind to change lives we encounter. The environment we go into are mission critical. Because it is one thing where you learn and everything, you think what you can do, but all that you are as an individual requires a certain environment that can hold your gift, your potentials, your stability. That is how come in coaching, we don't only coach you, the individual. So especially in leadership executive coaching, even though you are the person sitting there, everybody else that plays a role to allow you to become a gift unto the roles and functions, we are able to connect. We can ask a question. So in this situation that has been described, how would this play out in your people relation? How would this play out in your parenting? How would this play out in executive decision making? How would this play out in the kind of communication? Because the environment you cannot be taken out of what your potentials can do. So these three presentation from these three amazing achievers, trailblazers, give me the assurance that CTL Africa leadership and its quest to support leadership. And the beautiful thing is that it was not an event just only for Ghana. It was an event for the whole of Africa and the world, those who could participate online from elsewhere. It's something worthy that if you have the opportunity next year, don't shy out and decide to be there, because the individuals that are coming have got wealth of experiences. I've got, and you don't hear them speak just for applause, but you hear them speak from the brooks. You know, when you are in the desert, there's something called oasis, where you meet water, the only water you can find in the desert. So when they come to spaces like that, they become the oasis of people we encounter them. So that is basically what I could say my sum up of my takeaway from LIVE2LEAD 2024, considering a submission by John C. Maxwell on abundance mindset or growth mindset. My takeaway from Mr. Kwame Pianese was also legacy is the people you encounter and whom they become when you are not in that space anymore. And also Chantel always my takeaway from her was the importance of environment you go into. You can have a dream, you can have a passion, you can have a purpose and everything, but the very space that you are introduced to through epigenetics gets to influence your neurology. And that was something that was profound. So it gets me to understand more and more that as a leadership and executive coach, when I'm coaching and I bring clients to the space of even their environment, it is to support them to be able to explore and expand more. So basically, these are my takeaways from LIVE2LEAD 2024.
Awesome. Wow. Mr. Scofray, thank you much for sharing these thoughts with us. I hope you can hear me. Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Scofray, can you still hear me? You cannot hear me.
Yes. No, I can hear you.
Let's try again. Okay. All right, sure. Thank you so much again for sharing this. And for me, your opening sentence is what blew me away, because I've heard the concept of the pie. Like, okay, there can be more pies. But when you just talked about the oven, I just said, okay, I never even thought about the oven, because then if you have the oven, you can create what you can multiply what you're creating. And I think that is phenomenal, because sometimes we think that what we have gotten, once it leaves us, that's it. But don't forget that whatever is inside of you that created it. And that's what I love about the John Maxwell leadership team, or the Maxwell team. And John Maxwell says it every day, that The reason they have grown and impacted over 50,000 coaches today is because he didn't ring fence the little knowledge that he had. He didn't say, when I create a manual and I empower 10,000 coaches to go and teach them, they are going to take my knowledge away. What they have done is to magnify that knowledge. They have added on to that knowledge. And today, Maxwell Leadership Team is a huge team, all of that. So, and this week I also had Fred Swanica, the CEO of Sun Technologies, the famous ALX. They were going through their 2025 strategy. And one of the things he said was that to entrepreneurs, he was speaking to entrepreneurs, that the reason he has seen growth, the reason he thinks a lot of entrepreneurs are not growing is that they fear to let it go. They fear to open it up for partnership, for collaboration. But there's something that created that idea, and that same thing can create more ideas. That same thing can empower more and more people. And I think another thing that you also shared that I feel was very powerful was the definition of legacy, what people become because of you when you are not there. And it's because you pour out yourself into other people. When you were talking about the pouring out, I just thought of this Bible story when this widow had to pour out oil into jars. And we all know that story, that as she kept on pouring, the more there were jars, the more the oil was flowing. So I think that is a concept of abundance mindset that is so important, that we know that we do not live for ourselves, but we're here to live and lead for other people. Thank you so much, Mr. Scofray. All right, we'll come back to you. I know there are people who have questions, especially when you started talking about the mind. And I knew that that would have been particularly interesting for you. So we'll definitely come back for that. So I'm going to bring Uncle Sam and then Sarah Jessie on. Unfortunately, Dr. Thelma's internet has been struggling a lot this evening, so we'll have to put that session on hold. So I'm going to bring Uncle Sam on board. Let's share some of our learnings and some of
I,
the questions that we may have.
I think Dr. Thelma is on, right? She says she's been on for the last 10 minutes. Unless she's
Yes, but
falling off
not now.
again.
Right now, she's dropped. Yes, she's dropped off now. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Let's
She's
see if
trying to
we
connect
can
again.
get her.
So if we can try her and see, then
Okay.
because there's a lot of interesting points Scofray has made. But let's see if Dr. Thelma,
Yeah.
bring her on and let's see if we can hear her so that we
Okay.
can.
Let's see. Yes. Doc, please unmute and let's see if we can catch you on for a few minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you. Good.
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
We can't see you yet. Okay. All right. While your internet allows you, please, we'll
All
allow
right.
you to just go through this quickly. Then we'll come back and then debrief. Okay.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. And personally, I think I've enjoyed Scofray's presentation as well. In the interest of time and my internet not being so friendly, I will just go through my few takeaways from the whole program. But I must confess that it was such an eye opener. And I think that it should happen more often than once a year, maybe twice or three times a year. I don't know. But I think it was such an eye opener. And so, personally, my takeaways, Joy, your screen. Okay, let me see if I can open it. Okay, yeah. So
Let me
for
make it a
me,
lot bigger.
what I took away for me is the fact that my success is my responsibility. And so nobody can do it for me. If I intend to succeed, it's solely my responsibility. Whatever I need to succeed is definitely my responsibility. Also, the fact that we are surrounded by so many opportunities, but then it is up to us to grab them and make use of them on a daily basis as we sleep and we wake up. more ideas drop into our heads that if we open our spirits to, we can grab them and make good use of them. We equally need to make the most of every opportunity that comes our way, because we might not get a second or a third chance at a particular opportunity. And so we need to make the most of every opportunity that comes our way. We should also keep our eyes on the prize, the reason why we started. Very, very important. So in all that we do, we need to keep our eyes on the prize to motivate us. And finally, the God factor, very, very important. Regardless of which religion you belong to, there's a higher spirit that we all believe in. And so it's always important to have a personal relationship with your God, so that in all your things, He would equally direct your path. And so for me, these are my personal takeaways from the conference. As to what I want to share as far as what I picked the mindset revolution from, I think, David. I'm not so sure. I think it's from David or from one or the other speakers. And it was something that really spoke a lot to me, because we need to have a shift in our mindset if we want to lead ourselves right, and also lead the people who are looking up to us right. Some of us, by virtue of where we find ourselves, and like Scofray said, the environment has a lot of impact on our mindsets. And so for us to do things differently and achieve different results, there is the need to have a mindset revolution. And talking about a mindset revolution, looking at things such as replacing unhelpful beliefs and subconscious thoughts. According to psychology, we speak to ourselves more than anyone else does. And so in our subconscious thoughts, what we tell ourselves, how we see ourselves, and the picture we have of our own selves are very, very important. Once we're able to consciously work on that, put on a healthy and a positive subconscious mind, what we tell ourselves, if we tell ourselves the positives, it will manifest. But if we keep speaking the negatives into our spirits, we would equally accept it, and that is what will manifest. We also need to be conscious about thinking differently. And so you've been thinking along the same path for years. Nothing has changed. The results are the same. And so going forward, how are you going to do things differently? Of course, you need to think differently so that you can see things happen differently. Equally thinking differently and then also acting differently. Once the thinking changes, the act will equally change. And so we need to think differently and also act differently. And it's also the need to create new perspectives, sometimes from the lived experiences that we have had. So attending conferences such as the LIVE2LEAD, meeting different people, having different conversations. One thing I love about my job in terms of executive training and coaching is that sometimes I get to train people in areas that are not too much of my strength. And so that means that I would have to veer into an area that I am not comfortable with, or an area that I'm not so well versed in. I would have to take time to really learn everything in there. By the time I finish the learning and I go to deliver, I realize that I have added a new perspective to what I know. And also, the fact that we get to train people doesn't mean that we know it all. Through my facilitation and training, I also get the opportunity to learn from the people I train. And then it also helps me with getting new perspectives. And so the mindset revolution, very, very important. If we want to lead right, we can't continue doing things the same way and expect different results. Definitely, there has to be a shift, a revolution for that matter. The next thing is that I think I picked this from David. Yes, I was very, very key about all the things that David shared. He also shared about having big dreams. And of course, there's a saying that if your dreams do not scare you, then they are not big enough. And so we need to dream big. Dream big beyond even what our own minds can perceive. But of course, it is not just about dreaming. The dreaming is the starting point. So once you dream big, what do you do to achieve those dreams? And he mentioned that big dreams equally require bigger commitments. You don't just dream big and then leave it there. You would have to put in the work to achieve the big dreams. And the three key commitments that I picked were discipline, growth, and effort. Nobody can achieve their dreams if they are not disciplined. Sometimes you need to let go of certain luxuries to be able to achieve your big dreams, and it takes discipline to get there. You also need that growth mindset, having that positive mindset that I am set for bigger things, and so I need to grow in whatever I'm doing in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I need to have that shift. I need to have that growth mindset that the world is mine for the taking, but I need to put in the work. And as we have that growth mindset, of course, it also demands effort to get there. You don't lie down and then the big dreams are achieved. And so sleepless nights, combing all the internet to get all the resources that you need, the people you can contact, the network, everybody you need to get in touch with to be able to achieve those dreams. You need to put in the effort, because at the end of the day, it is the effort that is going to pay off in achieving the dreams. And then some wise business nuggets. So if you're a business person, if you're an entrepreneur, what are some of the nuggets that would help you or push you as far as what you are doing is concerned? Number one, don't give excuses for your failure. The fact that we are looking at the bigger picture or a big dream does not mean that we are going to succeed at everything that we will do. Failure is also part of the process. What is not accepted is failing and remaining there. No. Once failure comes up, it's just a step. You need to take all the valuable lessons in the failure and then move on so that in the next venture, it gets better. And so if you happen to fail, don't give excuses. Accept that for this one you failed, pick all the lessons you can from them and move on. After all, not every successful business person had it excellent all through. Some of them had to fail so many times. And it was through that failure that they came up with new ideas and they have found themselves where they are now. And so failure is part of the process. Don't find excuses for them, learn from them, and then move forward. Also, there is a need to create your own opportunities. As much as we are surrounded by so many opportunities, there are some opportunities that we can also create for ourselves. It is said that an entrepreneur is someone who sees a need and creates value for it. And so, in creating value and in creating a means of meeting people's need, the entrepreneurship is born. And that is how the entrepreneur make a name for themselves and they also make their monies. And so, create your own opportunities, find opportunities around you, make good use of them, and find your feet in those places. Also, the future is the present. There's nothing like tomorrow. Every dream that you have for tomorrow has to start the preparation from now. And so there's nothing like tomorrow. The future is the present. What you put in the now is what will manifest in the tomorrow. And so, as we prepare to lead ourselves and make the most of whichever opportunity that comes our way, we should keep our eyes on the present. Yes, the future is there, but the present is what will determine the future. The work you put in now will determine what the output will be in the next 1, 2, or 3 months. And so, don't be so focused on the future whilst ignoring the present. The present is as equally as important as the future. And the next point is to transform the little that you have. And so, going a little bit biblical, everybody who has a big story in the Bible was always faced with the question, what do you have in your hand? And so it's about what you have in your hand. David had just 5 small stones. And out of the 5 small stones, it was just one that did the magic. And so it's not about how big you have or whatever you have in your hand. The size doesn't really matter. So long as you have something in your hand, that is the most important. And so work on the little that you have and transform it into the big things that you are hoping to achieve. And the final business nugget is to take action now. Take action now. There's no better time than now. So long as the ideas are dropping, it's about moving now. If you want to wait till you get all the resources that you think you need, you'll never get to where you want to get to. And so taking action now is very, very important. Take action now with the little that you have, and don't wait till it gets big.
Okay, I think we may have lost Dr. Thelma in a bit. Yes, but then she was just on her last point talking about take action now. Very, very powerful nuggets she's also shared. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning something as we go along. All right, so I'm sure she'll be able to join us for the discussion. So I'm going to invite Uncle Sam and Sarah so that we pick up with where she has just joined, shared on taking action, on starting with the little that you have. Hello, my favorite people.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
Hi, SJ.
Good. Great session so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me bring Scofray on, or
Where's
do we want to
Scofray?
just take a quick break? Maybe let's let people who haven't
Yes, let's take
seen
a quick break and bring
right.
Scofray, and then
Mm-hmm.
we can take it from there.
Okay. All right. So quick break here.
You're welcome to the 2024 edition of LIVE2LEAD.
The most important traits of a good leader, character. I take character as first. Because that is inherent. And then your ability to be sympathetic to people. That's also inherent.
I believe that if we take action with what we have now with our little companies and constantly take action, we will succeed in transforming our enterprises and collectively increase the GDP of this nation and of Africa, with or without politicians.
We are here because everything rises and falls on leadership. And we are here because we want to grow. For 24 years as a corporate person, I was just doing my job. Now, I have a purpose I'm living for. We're hoping that at the end of today, you will not just go back and do your job, but you'll have a renewed mind. You will change your life. And with that transformation in you, you'll be able to go out there, help other people renew their mind, transform their lives, become better people.
All right.
Hi.
Welcome back, everyone.
Wow. Good.
Yeah. We live and live to lead.
Oops. Coach Scofray, thank you so much.
This is humbling.
Okay. So, yeah, Scofray, there was something you talked about which is so powerful, and I don't know if you want to throw a bit more light on it. When you talk about the three brains, the mind brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain, and the environment, it's so powerful because there's this book that I read, The Biology of Belief.
Yeah.
And as part of my coaching training, I had to do a review of the biology of belief. And the point that you made about the environment changing your DNA. So it's not the DNA that actually determines the outcomes you get. The environment actually can even change your DNA and the outcomes. So I don't know how you, I just want you to tie this a bit into into coaching and how important is it for leaders to understand that coaching can help harness all these 3-4 centers of their energies, of their brain, to enhance their performance. I mean, as you were presenting, I was just thinking about it, and I just wanted you to throw a bit more light on that so that our audience can understand the power of coaching, the place of coaching in leadership and in transformation and so on, just in a few quick brains. I mean, that's what is on my mind. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sam. You are right. Bruce Lipton is one of my go-to experts when it comes to anything neurobiology. So I'm glad you had read a book, Biology of Belief. You should also try another one. Another one I'll give you the minute if it comes to my mind. You also love that one. I think recently science for the past almost 20 years discovered that as a human being, we have more than just one brain. And interestingly, it's actually over 100 years old because the gut brain was discovered over 100 years ago and it fizzled out in science till it has resurfaced. So it's even not even a new insight. So if you study the human being, you have more than one brain, because all that we have known all these years is your thinking head brain. That is all we've come to know for cognition, for thought, for creativity. So if you really want to maximize the mind, it means that you cannot substitute justice to mean the mind. It means that you have a head brain, you have the gastroenterological brain, which is your gut. You have the cardio, the neurocardio, which is also your heart. If we are to measure, your head brain has over billions of neurons. Your heart has got over 100,000, and your gut has got 500 million neurons. And when we are talking about wanting people to, for instance, take action, the part of your body that takes charge of action is actually your gut, not your thinking head. No, it's your gut. So if you want to coach somebody who is struggling with action, it means you need to be able to position or pose questions that can get the gut to listen, that can get the gut to manifest. I think I said something on BCA recently where there was a client that a scenario happened, and I asked the client, can you put your hand on your belly and rub it as you breathe? Something else emerged for her. But because I understood that the human mind is not just one single brain, I was able to support it to go to the right brain that could be in, there's something we call NICS, neural integration constraints, or that we call NIPS, neural integration blocks. Each of these brain can override the other two, or two can hijack the other one, and all that. So this can all create constraints. That's how come coaching is very powerful, because when I put a question to you, I perhaps may know the brain I'm asking the question to, because per calibrating when we are coaching, I'm calibrating you. So I'll be able to tell where or which of the brain is overshadowing the others. It is very important to understand every human being you encounter. In fact, when I even speak of the three, it's at the certificate level, as we call the coach set. But I'm an mBIT master coach, so I'm able to even speak about the other two intelligences, which is your autonomic nervous system. Interestingly, it is that which sends signal between all the three. So if I want to support your mind transformation, I cannot deal with just one set of the mindset or the subset of the mindset. I need to be able to support you. And one of the things that is very profound, as you mentioned, is what Bruce Lipton has thought. If the science is there, that this is how come that you carry something of a grandfather you never met. But if somebody knew your grandfather, could say, this that you do, It's purely your great granddad. How come you carry that? It is in your phenotype. And the phenotype is the genotype, and the phenotype forms your DNA. So if our environment are just for nothing, we wouldn't be in this space called environment. That is how come it's important in coaching. I will be able to question the client. Who sits in that your team? What is the unwritten laws of the business or the environment you work in? That is what makes even team coaching also important. Sometimes we are so fixated on just the individuals in the team, but we forget that the unwritten rules or the unwritten cultures are the actual environment. And that is the beauty about the subconscious. And because I've mentioned the 3 brains, it means that if you pick your body from your brainstem behind the neck, called the brainstem, to your down, that's more communication, about 80% to this head than this head does to the rest of the body. So then you ask yourself, then what is the subconscious? It is not sitting in this prefrontal cortex. It is beneath your neck. That is called the body. So it is important. That is how coming in coaching. When I'm coaching, I'm not only listening to what you're saying. Recently, I was on a session with a client, I think, and when I asked the question, she started scratching. Then I brought it to her awareness that, did you notice you were scratching your neck? I said, and I said, what were you pacifying? What was it that you were holding? Because when she did that, the autonomic nervous system, a part of it called the parasympathetic, it has got an aspect called the vagus nerve. That is what that part of the body that the vagus nerve starts from, is behind your neck, through the neck, into the rest of your body. And she was pacifying that, because when you ask a client a question and it hits them so hard, the first thing is they want to defend, because the nervous system or the vagus nerve protects you in the face of threat. So being able to understand the beauty a human being is in this sense of neurology allow you, the coach. So in coaching, you just don't sit there and then I was asked a question and no, something is going on deeper than even your cognitive or your conscious mind can understand. That is how come coaching is not just an event. It's a journey.
It's transformative.
Very transformative.
Thank you so much. And Sarah, you are also a coach. That's why we wanted to see the coaching perspective from all that, because John talked about the mind and the mindset and the abundance of mindset. But we are seeing that, the mind has different components, and to be able to transform, we need to touch all the components of the mind. And it's not just going to sit in a classroom and be taught, or even reading or whatever. Your experiences are important, but there are also other tools that can help you as a leader to dig deep into the resources available to you, so that you can be able to transform. So Sarah, maybe you want to chip in here. You are also, like Scofray, have lots of experience and certifications in practice in coaching, and so I just wanted your take on it to share with our audience.
Thank you so much. And I must apologize, because there's been change in the times over here. I completely forgot that we have pushed the clocks back. So I joined a little bit late. So I missed some of our...
People want to trick God, right? You
exactly,
can't trick God.
Exactly. And I got tricked, I got tricked. Here, from what I've heard from Scofray, I really love the fact that even when he's working with clients, it's not just working with the person sitting in front of him. He's working with a system, and actually, even when it comes to team coaching, we don't even talk about team coaching. We talk about systemic team coaching. You are in front of the coach, you're working with a client, but then you see the systems that are behind him. The team is a system. His inner team is a system. He himself is a system. And Scofray has just shared with us even how the body, the brains are a system. So it's the whole system of a person that is in front of you. Everything that he or she does, the body language, the breathing, all that is the system that you're working with. And therefore, now you can see that in coaching, we are looking more at a systemic way of working with clients. I'm not really specialist in this. I'm still on the journey. I'm still on the journey doing systemic.
Yeah.
So this really comes home to me when Scofray was talking about the system.
Yeah.
And also you can see that even us as coaches, we do have to go for supervision to ensure that we are really abreast with times and the evolution in the coaching world. And therefore, even when we are being supervised, we sit there as a system, all our clients that we have worked with, the thousands of clients that we have worked with, that we bring to the table. So, I mean, it's a huge, huge area that is still unexplored, and we are on the journey. So that's what I
Yeah.
can contribute.
Thank you so very much. And Joy, you may want to come in here because what I'm learning is that transformation is not just something on the surface. There's a whole system that needs to be touched if you want transformation. Because the reason why a lot of the time you read good books and you put it on the side, you go to church every day and you hear all those fantastic sermons and then you put them on the side. And then you go to some web, we go to all these things and we still don't transform. It means we are not understanding the systemic nature of our being, our environment, and the interconnectivity that is affecting us. And if we are able to do that, then we may be able to accelerate our own transformation and our own growth, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I mean, Joy, I see you want to say something.
That's why I love being with coaches. I mean, anytime I'm with coaches, there's just this sense of calm. Like, I feel like people understand and people have got me. So thank you all for sharing. What was going through my mind this week, Mr. Im and I had the chance to speak to a staff, a group of an organization who were going through change and transformation. And we shared a presentation with them at their staff there, and the title was Change and Transformation. Initially, when we were working on it, I was just asking myself, what's the difference between change and transformation?
Yeah.
We used Who Moved My Cheese, the famous book about change, to introduce our presentation. And what I learned from it, based on what you're sharing, was there's a point where you start to, something is changing, you sense something is changing, but then you get to a point where you either learn and grow with what you have learned. And that's where I think the real transformation starts. So companies can go on a journey where they're changing strategy, they're changing logo, they're changing colors, but eventually they end up with the same behavior and the same attitudes and eventually the same outputs, because we change, but then the critical part is where we learn from our mistakes, or we learn from the why we need to change. If you're on Instagram and you're watching these memes, you see a lot of memes about Ghana, and most of the time the caption is, "Hey, my people," or "my Ghanaian fellows." Like, there are certain things we do as a people. Somebody carrying 4 goats on a motorbike, somebody carrying an air condition on a motorbike. I remember videoing one on my way, and I was like, the way we think, we want to change, but you can see that it needs to go beyond the surface. It needs to go beyond having beautiful roads, having, the transformation comes when we are ready to learn, relearn, unlearn, and just grow. I think that for me, that's what I learned this week when we were engaging with this organization. And I'm happy that we're sharing this, because Uncle Sam, you are very right. We keep going to church, but why aren't we seeing change? And I think one element I would like to add on is the consistency. Because it's very clear that if you consistently renew your mind, like what Scofray is sharing is so powerful. If I can understand this, and when I'm speaking or when I'm engaged and I'm being asked difficult questions, I can be aware of myself. Gradually, I can be able to tap into my senses, my resources, that I have on the inside to overcome the challenges I have. When I look at some of my personal goals and things that I wanted to do, most of the time, the fear of stepping into maybe into an office where I go and ask for maybe the contract, or I go and I say, I want this opportunity. Most of the time, you feel this knot in your stomach. You feel this, oh my God, like you don't feel it up here. You don't feel your brain burning, but you feel it in your tummy. You feel it in your gut, like you're saying. So understanding some of these things enable you to tap into all these different resources, how to harness it, how to combine brain, gut, heart. I mean, it's a very interesting space. And Coach Frey, I would love to learn more about that. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you so much for that dimension. There's another aspect of the environment that I want us to just take a bit of bite, because sometimes we become slaves to the environment, and we think that, oh, because we are Africans, no, that's okay. Africans are Africans. You have to go out of here and go to UK before you can be okay. Because for Africa, there's nothing good to have. What can happen in Africa? We know that our environment affects us, but particularly speaking to our young ones and who are feeling a bit despondent every day, what they are seeing is the negative leadership, the bad leadership, the corruption around us, and that has a tendency to actually affect us. How can we look at the environment in a way not to be slaves to it, but to say this environment would not serve me right, and let me create another environment, even within the environment? And I tell you, I grew up in a village, and even though I was in that village, somehow in my mind, I did not allow that village to kind of contain me. And I'll tell my mother, don't worry. We are going to be rich sometime. We are going to be rich sometime. And we had nothing. But I don't know where it came from. But my point that I'm making is that, should we allow ourselves to say, yes, that's the environment we are in, so let us all play with the environment? Or should we be proactive to create different environments within the environment so that we can transform ourselves? I don't know if I'm making sense, but let me start with Scofray.
Yes, it's a profound observation. And one of the ways I can bring this insight is the work of Dr. Dan Siegel. It's the same thing, it's just mBIT, but he approaches it a bit differently, where he looks at the human being from the perspective of me and we. So you are a me. So because you have three brains, you are a we, but represent a me to people. So you are a we. So you are an intrinsic environment first. That is what Bruce Lipton said, that larger environment, it does not come and put a knife on your neck to influence you. It more or less knock on your door till you unlock your door for it to come through. And that is the part where a lot of us fail. Because until you can, there is something we call felt sense. So I'll use it reservedly. Until you can feel and sense you intrinsically, anything at all can come in. And that is how come, if you check, we lack holding ourselves responsible and accountable. So we will portion the situation to the external environment. Is that the Ghanaian thing? That is it. The moment you hear anybody begin to speak like that, it is just simply shaking to go through that internal accountability and responsibility.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be late at any event, because my understanding to time is not the figures that shows up on the clock. It each is a life. So to me, time is life. So the moment I have intrinsically adduced that neuroception or interoception, it is that which will coordinate my doings out there. So I won't be late to an event, not because I want applause, because when I'm able to live like that, it brings me drive, fulfillment, impact, influence. It gives me centeredness than an applause. So you see, what is driving me? And if I don't do that, for instance, on this show, I had to do a lot of things to make sure 1 hour I was grounded to be here, because whoever will listen to this podcast, even in their dreams, something can happen. Even when they think they didn't hear anything, something have gone off, something can happen. So if I don't come prepared and I understand, oh, this time I be good to say, that won't happen. I mean, their minds are made up, this and that and that. I have sown a seed. So we have collectively created an environment that is devouring us. And because we don't want to hold ourselves responsible and accountable, it is easy to apportion the blame. Because it is from the same environment we eat from, true or false. When we plant the cassavas, the rice, the maize, and everything, that environment have accepted its core function, that if you put a seed into the soil, it must produce, something must come off. The tree also have agreed, I want to bear fruit. That is what I have accepted to do. That is their responsibility. Even in the wild, pawpaw grows. You come from the village, as I also come from. The most nicest, sweetest of pawpaw is the one in the wild. The most nicest, organic, sweetest pine is the one that grew in the wild. So it means even in the wild or in the environment, they are taking care of their own. But us, we don't want to be responsible and accountable, so we quickly push it. And the change we seek is a transformation. It's not a shift or a break and fix thing. It is a transformative shift. So the environment is indeed very important, but the interoception, the neuroception, the centeredness is what we run away from.
Great. Thank you. What I'm hearing is that, yes, the environment has an effect, but our internal powers are stronger. And we would be able, if we hold ourselves accountable enough, and we are going to be responsible enough, we should be able to transform ourselves so that we can create new environment. As John Maxwell says, if you are always the head of your class, you are in the wrong class, move to another one. Okay. So if this environment is keeping you the way it is, move to another environment, create another environment, change yourself within the environment so that you can transform. Well, I think, Joy, your time is running. And I would like to take Sarah, if you have a last comment on that. But I want everybody listening to understand also that this seminar, the LIVE2LEAD seminar that Scofray and Dr. Thelma and others have shared in the last 3 weeks, all the presentations are available. As an individual, if you are interested, we're able to if you pay for the link, we'll give you, and you have a whole 5 days to go through all those presentations, you alone. Or if you have a team that you want us to come and do the presentations to you, you invite us, and then we can agree with you and we can come and share the whole presentation, all the full day presentation with you, either in 1 day or a couple of days, where we would be with your team and share. So we have these presentations are available until the end of February. So the LIVE2LEAD season is not over until it's over. Sarah, you wanted to share something briefly?
Yeah, briefly about the environment. For us to know that the environment is not simply external, as Scofray has rightly said. It's in our minds. Yeah, looking at your different areas of your life, your spiritual environment, your physical environment, which is external to you, your, what do you call, your heart environment, the
emotional environment.
Emotional environment. So we need to be able to identify and see which part of the environment is holding us back. That really helps us to deal with it in a systematic way, as you are a system, to ensure that everything comes together holistically for you to be, what do you call it? Holistically viable for the next or transformation that you are getting onto. So simply that. I just wanted to add that.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right.
Thank
So
you. Thank
I
you.
think we'll leave you, Joy, and maybe Scofray can give us his parting shots,
Pattern
and then
shots, yes, definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Scofray, so your last words before you go.
Well, my last words will be that anytime you hear about Live to Lead anywhere in the world, please invest a resource in that regard for your own growth. Then number two, there is a research about social learning that has emerged, that if you get to study with people, not just our typical verbatim kind of study, but different ideas emerging and all that for you, it gives you what we call like the 7 nutritional supplements. You get it all together, the right nutrition, because then also when you go into such spaces, it's not just, you see, when we say network, we take it to mean just cables connecting. No, you are an antenna. You are, in fact, if you break the human being to their core, you are a frequency. So when you go into spaces where people have come with their magnified frequencies, remember your heart can connect to somebody almost 12 feet away. That should tell you that when you go into spaces like Live to Lead, there are things you can pick up. It becomes an external, extrinsic environment you are investing in. Yeah. Finally, what I want to share is you are more than a thinking thing. That is very profound and important for me. And like Sarah said, you have a heart environment, you have a gut environment. Mostly we think this is all that we have. Please begin to feel, begin to sense, and that will alter a lot about you, because each one has a neuron, a synapse that is occurring, or a neurogenesis, something that is new bubbling out of your neurons. So give yourself to self-investment. Lead yourself first. Invest in spaces and courses and conferences like Live to Lead, because you are not here as an accident to come and eat, dance, and die. No, you are here to be a purpose that will connect to that of others, so that generations unborn will stand on your shoulders to climb their ladder. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Sam and Joy, Sarah, and Nofi, for hosting myself and Dr. Thelma to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scofray. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. You could have been doing anything else, but you chose to spend your time with the leadership platform. We appreciate you. Just 2 announcements before we go. The month of November has just started, and we are going to be reading. Don't forget, on the leadership platform, we read together, we learn together. So this month, the book of the month we're announcing is The Richest Man in Babylon. Last 2 months, we did Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and we're going to be doing The Richest Man in Babylon. This is a very small book. You can find this in almost any bookstore. It's a collection of parables of the ancient Babylon, which teaches about personal finance, wealth building, and financial independence. So at the end of the month, we'll come back to review this together. So please send us a shout out. Let us know if you need the book. If you have the book, let's know so that we can all read together. And we'll also be having time with a CEO coming up next week. And then we'll have a few master classes before we wrap up for the month of December. So we look forward to having you again next week, Saturday. And lastly, a few programs coming up. Growth Journey is starting this month. We have a few seats taken. If you want to learn how to grow yourself, how to build your leadership, please visit our website at www.ctlafricaleadership.com. Under courses, you would see Growth Journey. You can subscribe or just send us a WhatsApp on 055-666-7718, and the team would be ready to assist you. All right, so we do have a good rest of your evening, and a big shout out to my team for all the work they do to bring the leadership platform. I wish you a good night and see you again next week, Saturday, same time, 7 p.m. on Saturday. Take care. Have a wonderful good evening.
You're welcome to the 2024 edition on LIVE2LEAD.
The most important traits of a good leader, character. I take character as first, because that is inherent. And then your ability to be sympathetic to people, that's also inherent.
I believe that if we take action with what we have now with our little companies and constantly take action, we will succeed in transforming our enterprises and collectively increase the GDP of this nation and of Africa, with or without politicians.
We are here because everything rises and falls on leadership. And we are here because we want to grow. For 24 years as a corporate person, I was just doing my job. Now, I have a purpose I'm living for. We're hoping that at the end of today, you will not just go back and do your job, but you'll have a renewed mind. You will change your life. And with that transformation in you, you'll be able to go out there, help other people renew their mind, transform their lives, become better people.